Mary Kay, all that stuff, a normal, what would be average, $150 to $210 for the entire year. $150 to $210 this year. For all of the above. And if you think that's expensive, ooh, you live in that cave. You are living in that cave. Are we going to be more than the do-it-yourself software tax programs? Absolutely. We're going to be more, but if I do it, it's going to be done right. This is the thing. You can do your own return, and you may end up with a bigger refund than I'll get you. Yeah, you may end up with $1,000 more of a refund than I'll give you. But that's because you what? You don't know what you're doing. You can put down a lot more mileage. You can end up with a bad ending inventory number. But all because you get $1,000 more back, that don't mean it's right. And then that means that you got to explain to whom why it's wrong. The IRS, and you do not want to go there, folks. Again, the chances of getting audited are highly unlikely. However, if you don't do it right and it looks really goofy, they will ask questions. Do I want you to have a goofy looking tax return? Had a client that was in Lacey, Washington on Thursday. She says that she was audited for 2010. And she says the reason why she was audited because the auditor said she had a Mickey Mouse tax return. And that's exactly the situation. I don't know what her return looked like. Of course, I didn't do it, but that's what their Mickey Mouse. It was so bad that Mickey and Minnie had their names all over it. So you deal with us, and that's not going to happen. Do you want to look out of the ordinary? Do you want to look goofy? Do you want that flag waving? With us, you're not going to have the flag waving. This past year, our office got one audit, and that's it. We did over 3,000 returns, and we got one audit. Now, I can't guarantee you're not going to be an audit. In fact, if I were, I'd have legal issues with the IRS, so I cannot say that. But my point is this, is that we don't do goofy. All right, that's really, really important. If your return is out of the ordinary, we will make sure that you are aware of it, and that there may be issues with your return. And of that one audit that we got, all they wanted to know was about their personal contributions. So it wasn't even business related. It wasn't even business related. I told her it was such a simple audit. I told her what to do. 3 or 4 weeks later, she emailed me back and said I won't want it. So we're here to help you folks, and we're exceptionally economical in doing so. And just don't think that we're there during tax season. We're there the entire year. Any questions about any of that stuff? Any questions? Yes.
You also do like our W-2s as well?
All of the above.
And that
was the 150 to 210. Now, if you've got rentals, investments, it's going to be more, but it's not going to be as much, again, as the franchise folks. We're not as much as those people. I'm not sure how those people stay in business. Yes?
When you were talking about how much of stuff is write-off depending on your income, what if somebody is a new consultant, like October, November, December, they start their business?
Well, that I completely understand. But that does bring up an interesting question. What if you've only been in through October, November, December, and only sold $200? And a lot of people say, well, I didn't really make enough to justify filing. Well, that's okay. All right. So you don't want to file. So can you still use the internet and all? Yeah, you can still do all that because you've only been in for a portion of the year. But a lot of people say, again, I don't really want to file. I made a couple $100. I've only been in for 2 or 3 months. Well, this is the question for those people. How much of a store do you have? How much of a store do you have? If you've got a store $1,500, $2,000, and if you don't account for it in the year that you buy it, what happens to that store? It just goes away. It just goes away. So it's important to file the year in which you start because you've got that store, right? Mm-hmm. So you say, well, I only sold a couple $100. I don't know. If you got anything on your shelf, you're going to want to file. Next there, somebody else? Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned W-4, like the W-4. How do you determine what you should do? Case in point, military, got out of the military and had W-4, and I was certain, I deducted it, claimed so much. Now I'm not military, and the income's like really down, and I don't do anything but Mary Kay. So how do you kind of balance that? So you're paying enough tax, you know what I mean?
Yes, so what's happened, and your situation is not out of the ordinary at all. So what's happened is that she was full military, Now she's retired, so what should she have withheld? Well, it all depends upon your situation. So in her situation, that's why you call us. That's why you ask us questions. And in her, I'd have to ask her more questions. So if you want to ask at the end, I'll be more than happy.
Okay.
Those are the kind of questions that we are available for throughout the entire year. And I do not charge for that sort of thing. So if she were to want to contact us on Facebook, or email us, or call us, we'll be more than happy to take those questions. So
Okay, thank you.
that's what we're talking about. Next thing I want to talk about is, what about when it comes to cell phone bills and internet? What about the internet and cell phone?
Thank you.
Can we take that off?
Sorry.
Yes, we certainly can. So let's talk about the internet first. San Antonio is not any different than any other part of the country. I'm sure that you folks do the bundled billing, right? We got the cable bill, the home phone, whatever. For some of you, we may or may not, but nonetheless, I just want to know how much your internet is. Just how much is your internet? Just how much is your internet?
Per month, per year.
Per month, per year, doesn't matter. I'll want to know for the year. I want to know for the year. I don't want to know about the cable. I don't want to know. Sometimes people ask me about cable, but I don't like paying the cable. I just want the internet. So when it comes to the internet, what is the most as a percentage you'll be able to take?
70.
No more than 70%. That is correct. No more than 70%. So let's talk about the cell phone bill. Cell phone bill gets a little more complicated. And the reason is, if you have a spouse and children on your cell phone bill, I just want just your cell phone. Whatever number is attached to that part of the bill, that's all that I want. So if you're a secondary person, how much you're going to be able to get? Maybe 20 bucks a month. So it's my opinion that should you be primary or secondary?
Primary.
Exactly, so you get the larger part of the bill. If you've never looked at your cell phone bill, you may be asking me, I don't know what you're talking about, but look at it. There's going to be different numbers, cell phone numbers on that bill. I only want your cell phone number. Only want yours. So how do we know whether you're the primary or secondary? Your name's on the bill, and I got that part. But how would the IRS determine this? Is that, again, chances are unlikely you ever get asked for an audit, but if they do, they'll want your business card. And on your business card, it's got your what on it? Your cell phone number, and that's what they're going to, that's how they're going to know what is your bill, what part of the bill is specifically associated with your cell phone number. So we find that specific dollar amount per month. I want the total amount for the year, and then what's the most of a percentage you're going to be able to get? 70. No more than 70%. But then again, folks, remember the $200? If all you make is in $200 for the entire year, do you need a cell phone? No, like my father said for many years, 2 styrofoam cups will get you 200 bucks, all right? Does that make sense? Styrofoam cups. In other words, if you only make $200 for the entire year, do you need a cell phone? No. The more money you make, the more things you can have. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. So do you need receipts for all this stuff?
Yes.
Absolutely. You say, I don't get a receipt for my internet. I don't get a receipt for my cell phone. You do get them. If you ain't got the bill, you ain't got a deduction. That's all there is to it. Now, can you save it electronically? That's fine, but always have in mind, if ever asked, you're going to have to print it out. Because what did I say the IRS does not accept? They don't do emails, they don't do digital, basically. That is correct. Yes?
What if you also have a landline?
A landline into your home, the first landline into your home is not deductible. If you have a second one, or specifically a business line, it is deductible. It is deductible. But not the first line. Yes?
What if on your business card you have a Google Voice number?
Okay, so she's got an answering service, basically, kind of. You have a Google, okay, Google Voice. I'm not familiar with that, but basically it's a phone line, kind of, right? It's a digital.
But then it rings to my phone.
You pay for this service, specific, or you don't?
Google Voice is free.
It's free. Okay, so there's no cost to you.
Right, but then it rings to your phone, so then you use your phone. But then
There's a proof.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, as long as there's, as long as, so she's using a separate type of device, service, for her cell phone. I don't care how it is, as long as there's some kind of paper trail to show the proof that you use it. Yeah, no problem. Yep, no problem there at all. So that's internet and cell phone, yes.
What if you have your spouse has a home business and you have?
What if you've got a home business and your spouse has one? We've got all sorts of, we got lots of those. So what would happen is that we would use no more than 70% of her cell phone bill, no more than 70% of his cell phone bill, and no more than total 70% for the internet. Yes. Yep. So if you want to use 35-35, I don't care how you do that with the internet. No problem. Next thing I want to talk about is how to take a business trip. We all know how to take vacations, how to take a business trip. To me, this is a huge recruiting tool. Huge recruiting tool. Because you can't tell your boss with your W-2 job that you're just going to go to Colorado Springs and go to Pikes Peak. You can't do that normally, can you? No, not normally. So, what's going to happen here is you can go all over the country. When Mary Kay was alive, she suggested recruiting in how many different places? 5. At least 5 different places. And you need to do the same thing. Well, I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I've been married to my wife short 11 years now. And over the last 11 years, she hasn't gone with me very much because of the 9 and 3-year-old girls that we have. So last week, she was able to go with me to Colorado Springs because I just wanted her to go with me to, just to hear me again. It's been so long. But she is my employee, so I had 2 seminars, and when I give seminars, I'm doing the same thing that you folks are doing. What are those 2 things? Same thing that you guys do. Recruiting, very good, and selling. Now my sales aren't worth diddly too much to me, but recruiting, it's the same thing. When I went to Colorado Springs, has anyone ever been there before? It's kind of a big deal. In Colorado Springs, you got Pikes Peak, you got the Air Force Academy, you got Garden of God. So she went with me, and we also did what when we were there? Sightseeing, exactly. I've been to every state in this country other than basically San Francisco and New York. I've been everywhere else. How have I been able to do that? Because of my business. And you guys need to do the exact same thing. Does it make it interesting for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know San Angelo is really nice, but I assume you want to go somewhere else throughout the country. The thing is that again, it's a huge recruiting tool. How many jobs are you given where you can just go whenever you want to, right? So, how do you do a business trip? Most important aspect to any of this, one of the important aspects I should say, is having the intent to do business before you do business. The intent to do it before you do it. What does that mean? It's like when a national comes to this area. You know how they send you out a letter or you get an email or something? This person's going to be here on this state, blah, blah, blah. You need to do the same thing. You need to do the same thing. Let's say that you've got a relative that lives in Orange County, California. You've got a sister-in-law that lives there. So what you do is you email your sister-in-law about how you're going to have fun, you're going to have gifts, you're going to have food, all that good stuff. She invites 20 people, 12 show up. Of those 12 people now, what do you have to do with those 12 people? You got to do what? Sell and recruit. Exactly. What would you rather do? Recruit. Why? Because you're going to make more money probably, and you got to go back. Exactly. So when you're there, you got to do at least $50 a day or $250 a week, $50 a day, $250 a week, or recruit one person per week. $50 a day, $250 a week, or recruit one person per week. Now this is not an IRS law, but this is Tiernan Associates. It's basically telling you you have to do something when you're there. Because if you were to go to Orange County and you make no money, do you have a business trip? No, you do not have a business trip. You've got a vacation. Exactly. So when you're there, you've got to make money. You've got to make the money. Now, do you have to make the money exactly when you're there? Pretty much you got to do something in sales. Got to do something. So you do all that, you have the intent, you send out the invitation, and then in addition to that, you sell and you do the recruiting and all that stuff. Now what's deductible? Your airfare or mileage, your hotel stays, your rental cars, your food. What about spouses? Are they deductible? No, they're not. Mine was deductible because she's my employee. But for you folks, it's not going to be deductible for you. So what about his airfare or the kids' airfare? Not deductible. What about their meals? Not deductible. You're not going to split up the rental car. You're not going to split up the mileage, of course, so that's not going to finish. Is this a huge advantage of being in this business? Huge recruiting tool? Absolutely. Huge. Huge advantage of being in this. Yes?
I have a question. What if we travel to help one of our recruits get bigger? So we're helping them, but we're not.
Okay, so
we're
she's
making money from.
right. So she's talking about just helping a recruit. Is that deductible? Absolutely. On your monthly commission statement, it's going to have her name. But she's that person that she's going to try to help. Got to be making her money. Okay, just got to be helping her make money. What if it's a company-sponsored event? Like this year, it's Nashville, right? Is leadership in Nashville? The directors go to Nashville this year. Or everybody goes to Dallas. Or if there's something other than the summer in Dallas, or if you go to Houston for a conference or whatever, if it's company-sponsored, nothing there. You don't sell. Just got to make sure you have proof that you're there. I like the name badges. A lot of you folks have a tendency to see about 30 people in one of these hotel rooms in Dallas. Of those 30 people that stay in that one friggin' room, I want each of you to get a receipt because it helps prove that you were there, okay? You gotta get your own receipt, and they will do that. So just don't pay your sister consultant because that's not proof. You say I didn't do that, don't fret about it, just remember that from now on. But that's how you take a business trip. Is that wonderful? Absolutely. That is how you do a business trip. Yes?
So with the airfare, can you just use your itinerary? Or do you have to have these?
It's got to be something. I really like the ticket. I really do like the ticket because, again, it helps prove that you were there.
How about on your statement?
Credit card statement? Only if you got to use your credit card statement. If you don't have the original, then go with what you got on your credit card. But I even like the baggage claim because, again, it helps prove that you were there. And if you don't have that, then use your credit card. But from now on, remember, get that stuff. Get that stuff. Fuel expenses at company events? Yeah, if you got one of the premium. Yep, that'll work. That'll work. So that's how you do a business trip. Huge recruiting tool. Next thing I want to talk about is office in the home. Office in the home. Another huge advantage of being in a home-based business. This is the thing about office in the home. You're still going to heat the house. You're still going to cool the house. Whether you're in business or not, but now that you are in business, now you can write that off. So how do you do it? You just simply take the square footage that you use, the room that you use, and the square footage of the house. Square footage of the room, square footage of the house, you divide one into the other and come up with a percentage. Anybody have any idea what a normal average percentage would be for office in the home? No, normal's anywhere from 8% to 15%. That's normal. Anything more than 25, you got to prove it to us. And this is the thing. What determines your office in the home? What helps determine your office in the home? Income. Because is it reasonable to believe that half of your home is Mary Kay when you have a spouse and 2 children? Is that reasonable to believe that? No, that means little Johnny's sleeping on a roll-up bag, and that's not reasonable, is it, folks? No, it's not. But let's say that we take a single lady. She has meetings, she's a director, she has meetings in her home. Is it possible for half of her home to be an office?
Yes.
One very good example is a lady in Anchorage. We were there a few years ago. Half of her home literally is Mary Kay. But now that she's a single individual, her spouse has passed several years ago now. So it's very possible. But what determines? She's the top director in Alaska, so she can easily justify, can't she, half of her home. So you have to have the income to justify it. So what are the things you're going to get for office and home in just a moment? You're going to get the repairs and maintenance, you're going to get utilities, all that stuff. All that stuff, and that stuff is listed in our organizer. So, what if you rent? If you rent, same thing. You got the square footage of the room that you use versus the square footage of the apartment. And now you're going to have rent and renter's insurance instead of having mortgage interest, homeowner's insurance. You still get the credit for it. Still get the credit. Yes?
I don't know if others have this question, but not only do I have an office, but I've had a lot of parties at my home, some using my dining room table.
Yes.
And my kitchen to do.
Right.
So.
When it comes to the square footage, when it comes to the IRS and office in the home, nothing with the word that dining in it. The IRS does not do anything with dining, whether it's in a room or a table. They don't do the dining. Same way with the kitchen. Kitchens don't work. And do I know that you ladies use your dining room table? I know. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work.
No, that helps.
So that the thing is, and now there are some ladies that have converted their dining room into an office, but then again, it's not a dining room. It's a what? Hey. Yep. Somebody else had a question. I thought. Yes.
Oh, no, you kind of answered. Let's say, well, what if you got a kitchen table in the kitchen and another table in the dining room and you just use the dining room?
Yeah, see, there you go. Yep. So that's the situation on that. So that's office in the home. It's a beautiful deduction. The thing, like I mentioned, is that you're going to spend the stuff anyway, but now you're in business, now you're going to get credit for it. All right, now I get this question quite often. When it comes to attire, and not a tire, ladies and Lacey got that all confused. Attire, when it comes to what you have on. I don't care what you've been told, what other people have told you, there are 4 things in which you can write off. These are the 4 things. What about this and what about that? I just smile and nod. These are the 4 things in which you can have. Only 4 things. What's the first thing for attire that you folks can write off?
Director suit?
Director suit, that is correct. Second, red jacket, that is correct. And the third, beauty coat, that is correct. The 4th thing is anything associated with NK connections. Those are the 4 things. And how do I know that these are the only 4 things? I know this because I've specifically dealt with whom on this? The Internal Revenue Service. I've dealt with this specifically with the Internal Revenue Service. So for you folks who suggest this and that, I smile and I suggest that you've never been to an audit. Because those are the 4 things that you are allowed. Some people may suggest more, but again, I say you've never been to an audit. So, those are the 4 things, and what do those 4 things have in common? They all were purchased from whom? That is it. Those are the 4 things. But I've talked to you about all those other things. A lot of people are disappointed in this. Well, why can't I have this or that and blah, blah, blah. Well, look at all the other things I've told you that you could have. Look at all those other things you can have. You can have your cell phone and tablets and travel and all that fun stuff. Here, you're not. Those are the 4 things. Several years ago, we had there was a national in the Midwest band audit. And she, the auditor asked her about her national suit because do we have any idea how much the national suits cost?
A lot.
A lot, yeah, a lot. They're way more than the director's suit.
Yeah.
Like 3 times the amount. So the auditor asked me, well, it looks here that you're writing off the director's suit. I said, there are a piece of clothing. I said, yes. And he asked me, well, what makes it a uniform? Because it's got to be a uniform. Do people know what that means? You know the IRS sometimes doesn't allow nursing uniforms. They don't even like nursing uniforms. They will not allow a painter with white pants and a white shirt. They don't allow that either. It's got to be a specific uniform that's got your name on it, or safety goggles, things of that nature. Does that make sense? So pantyhose ain't gonna work for you ladies, okay? So So the auditor asked me, well, what about this suit? And it says, does it say Mary Kay on it? And does that suit say Mary Kay on it?
Yes.
Yep, it does. And I left it at that. But what did I think he thought that it said NSD or something on the back. Did I suggest otherwise? No. That's a huge advantage of dealing with us. Again, on the highly unlikelihood of you getting an audit, do I suggest that you do the audit? No. Why? Because of that situation right there. Because if that were you, would you suggest, well, it's yeah, you would have. Would that have gotten you into some issues? Yeah, probably. So, when it comes to audits, I do the audit for you. Because I suggest that you don't do it. Why? Because folks have a tendency to do what? But again, we're not looking for that. That's why we always determine every number on your return whether it's reasonable. Reasonable. So we help you with that. Again, can't guarantee you're not going to get an audit. But the chance of you dealing with us, in my opinion, is going to be less. One of the biggest reasons why is because folks who do it themselves have a tendency to end up with large losses. And those large losses help you get big refunds. But they're typically not going to be correct. So, again, we warn you of this. If we think there's a goofy number, or numbers, we make sure you're aware of it. I have 4 things in which to sell you folks. 4 things. If you deal with Tiernans, in which I suggest that you do, we can just do the Mary Kay if you want. We'll just do the Mary Kay. If you've got another business, if your spouse has got a business and he doesn't want to send anything to Ohio, then we'll do just the Mary Kay. 96% of our business is the entire return. W-2s, 1098, 1098s, all that stuff. If you've got a spouse that's nervous about these flakes from Ohio, chances are we've been in business longer than his accountant's been in business. And the thing is, if his accountant if he's still dealing with his accountant, chances are that person's probably going to actually pass away soon. It's amazing how many people in my business are dying. And the reason is, it's not the stress from the IRS, which I do understand, or Congress. It's the fact that they remember FDR exceptionally well, all right? They remember Roosevelt like it was yesterday. So a lot of people in my business, hey, they're not young. They're not young at all. So, but I'm going to be around, hopefully, as far as my wife and children are concerned, at least for quite a while yet. So, I have 5 things in which to sell you, one of which is the organizer. If you deal with Tiernans, you need to purchase this. And this is $5. If some of you can or can't see, it says 2013 on the front. Why is there no 14 yet? Because there is no 14 book. When will we have that?
15.
January 1st? No, probably not. I have no idea. For those of you who are clients, I don't honestly know when we'll have this because, especially with the ACA coming out this year and with the elections, I have no idea. We can't do this until the IRS makes final law, so who knows. But this is a 13. It will work with the same as the 14. If you really want a 14, contact my office later in the year and ask for one. Tell them you bought one here, and they'll email you a username and password for a new one. The second thing that I have which sells are miles. You're like, this is $3. I don't care whether you use this or use whatever piece of technology you want, but nonetheless, you have to have it written down somewhere. A lot of people will say, well, can I use my date book? Yes, you can use your date book, but just remember that, again, on the unlikelihood that you're audited, they will want to make a copy of every page of that date book for 1 month. They will want to do that. And that's fine for a lot of people, I don't care, but just remember that someone else may look at that book. If that's not a problem, no problem. But this is $3. Third thing I have in which to sell is my expandable filing system, and this is $17. $17. Blue, green, or purple. And no, I don't have pink. I've asked for pink, and it's not going to happen. I like these specifically because I have so many different categories in them. I like these. The last thing I wish I had to sell is a DVD of me doing exactly what I did here. Why would you want to buy this so you can listen to me again, right? No. But if you've got a spouse who has lots of questions or trying to recruit, that's what this is for, and this is $20. So those are the 4 things I have and wish to sell. Does anybody have any questions?
How long is the DVD?
How long is the DVD? Hour and a half. That's exactly how long it is. I've got things I've got here. Now, in these handouts, they pertain nothing to what I discussed today. They have nothing to do with what I discussed today. But what they are is the first page are some issues I've had with audits over the years. And the other pages are just for your education. The last page in that handout is if you wish to pay me by credit card for those 4 things of which I have. Now, on that page, if you wish to purchase an expandable file, it says 15, but it's actually 17. I'm afraid their charges go up, so I'm afraid mine do as well. But